There we are.
Do you know the song Party Lights?
I don't know that I do.
It's like an old 60s song by Claudine Clark. And
Gross.
I love it. It's like a total dance party. And I just can't get it out of my head lately.
Sing it right now.
I see the lights. I see the party lights. They're red and blue and green. Everybody. But you won't let me make the scene. It's all about a girl who wants to go to the party that's right across the street and her mom won't let her out of the house.
It's right
Everybody's
across the
there.
street.
She sees all of her friends and her boyfriend.
That's like emotional abuse.
She can't go to sleep because she sees the lights. She sees the party lights. It's great.
It's really sad.
But it's awesome. It's such a rocker. And there are a couple good covers of it too, but I think the original's the one.
How do I sound?
I think you sound like you normally do. Here, just give me like count to 10.
I turned it down a little bit.
That's
I think.
lower.
And not too low though, am I?
Well, I don't know. Now that I'm focused on you, I'm aware that it's lower.
Okay. Because I was just looking at my sine wave and it was all vibrating and weird. So it's not anymore.
Sine
So
wave, cosine, alpha, beta, delta, gamma.
uh-huh.
It's a psycho beta funk down. Once
Josh.
again, it's always a psycho beta funk down.
That's right.
So, do you have big birthday plans?
I'm going to get fancy Indian food and have a fancy Indian inspired cocktail
Ooh.
and pick up my prescription, and that is
Ooh.
it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This guy's got to pick up his prescription too. Good call. Oh, and I
Thank
gotta go
you.
get tested. Fuck.
What are you
Like
getting tested for?
COVID, flu, and
That's boring.
colds. Like they give you a full winter panel if you ask for it.
Is that in the van?
Yeah, that's the easiest way to do it in New York City.
That's pretty dope. We could have
It
really
is
used
pretty
that.
dope. I mean, there are like a million clinics that you can also go to, but like the fastest, most convenient way is literally just a van with a little sort of like kiosk tent set up out front. You scan a QR code if you're already in the system. It takes 2 seconds to be like click, click, and then they can swab you and you're on your way. And then they text you or email you your results.
They don't give a shit anymore. They're like, you can buy this home test for $25.
Now they
Otherwise,
have home
fuck
tests
you.
that are a combination COVID and flu, and I think cold too.
Huh.
Yeah, I just saw that. And the United States Post Office is once again sending out free
Hmm.
home tests.
I already signed up because I'm
Yeah,
all over that.
yeah, it's really. I mean, if you have any care about protecting vulnerable people you might interact with, like it's a very convenient way to know that you might be dangerous. I'll get off my soapbox.
Hey, we need to do PSAs. No one's listening.
Right?
I mean, not to us. I mean, about COVID, but not to us either. But yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So wait, back to your fancy Indian dinner and Indian cocktail. There's
Uh-huh.
like a place nearby you.
It's kind of close,
Hmm.
but yeah, I've never been there. And I was just like, I want Indian food and I want fancy. So that's what I did.
That's awesome. Is
Hmm.
what is like an Indian specific cocktail?
It has like, mixologists, am I right? They got
Yep, yep. Checks out.
uh, They got like fancy Manhattans and like they just take a regular cocktail and put like cardamom and like all these
Hmm.
uh chai spices and masala and whatever in it.
I mean, a gin and tonic is like the original colonial drink.
Hmm.
You know, get your quinine, avoid your malaria.
Yep, that's
Um,
right. Yep.
but you know, like I don't know. I think when I think like Indian beverages, I just think like lassies and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, it's not like actually Indian, it's just like inspired by flavors.
Right. Right.
Let's clap this in.
Okay, let's do it. What's going on, guys? It's On Fire
Bam,
tonight
bam,
with Josh and
bam.
Tressa.
Pew, pew, pew.
We got extra sound effects in the studio today for Tressa's
Lasers,
birthday.
lasers, lasers.
Fuck yeah, this is a. I'm taking a naked laser shower as we speak. It's amazing, and I've never felt so clean.
Yeah, I'd feel a lot more comfortable if you put your clothes back on,
I
Josh.
will not do that.
All right, thank you.
Not like you can see anything. It's all lasers from your perspective.
That's right. You're just like a beam of light right now, like you usually are, but visually.
a friend of mine a friend of mine who is truly one of like the nicest human beings in the world was mentioned in a New York Times article that
About
just
assholes.
called him the human embodiment of a ray of sunshine.
Holy shit.
And it's a fact. It is a fact.
That is his legacy, and goddamn, fantastic. Holy shit.
Just one of the grandest, one of the
I will
nicest.
not get that sort of recognition in any New York Times or Omaha World Herald or anything else because I hate everything. Josh, today we're going to talk about Max Headroom season 1 episode 2.
Fuck yeah, we are. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is currently, at the time of this taping, free with commercials on Tubi. If you haven't watched it yet, it's a great show. Watch it because we're about to spoil it in this conversation. You've been warned.
It is a product of its time and just know that going in.
Right. Okay, so it's a product of its time
Mhm.
that it's sci-fi made in the 80s, and it looks forward at technology that did not exist then but does today,
Mhm.
and it embraces certain aesthetic principles that were like of its time in the 80s but also just like, you know, they were drawing on. There's a very specific type of dystopian future that we'd already seen in other movies. Brazil, we mentioned last episode. The original Terminator, when you see
Oh
like,
yeah.
you know, the few images of the hellacious world of the future, like they're really drawing on that as much as anything in this show.
Anything with like homeless camps, like ooh, they live, or like the Bell
Totally.
riots in
Totally.
DS9. It's just not a great, fun, super duper future.
Right, but of course we should talk about the OG, like that all of that comes from. I don't think I'm speaking out of school when I say that the original aesthetic for that dystopian future comes from a TV commercial for laser tag.
I mean, obviously, Josh. What? Yes.
Do you remember like there was the first ad for laser tag? I'm joking. It's not like laser tag was obviously
No,
ripping off that other stuff. But do you remember that ad that was like
no.
like a dystopian hellscape and people were shooting lasers at each other? And oh my God, they're advertising this game that you can go play.
Was it for like a place you go, or was it for the at-home Nerf gun type thing?
It was like Okay, so as far as I know, it was just for the at-home Nerf gun type thing with
Mm-hmm.
lasers that you can buy yourself at Toys R Us back when Toys R Us existed.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
So, but like possibly there were like arena type places that were already being set up in other parts of the country that I just didn't know about or anything.
Yeah. I mean, the laser, at home lasers, so expensive.
Oh my god, totally.
Jesus.
And it's literally tag. The
But
the
in the future, you
the
idiot.
most free game that exists.
Yeah, you don't need accessories for that.
Yeah, if you add laser to anything that already exists, you can sell it in
Hmm.
the 80s.
Yeah,
Have
yeah,
you
for
ever played
sure.
laser poker? The stakes are just as high.
Aren't they higher though, Josh? I'm pretty sure.
Have you ever played laser backgammon?
Man, we used to play laser tic tac all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Laser hangman? Get out of here.
Yeah. So like the way they presented the ad for laser tag, it was like there was this arena and like you went and like did your best with these laser guns and you know the little
Mm.
thing on your
Bra.
chest. Not a bra, it was like a laser thing. So like when you
Laser
got
bra.
hit, it would tell you like pew pew, you got hit.
Okay, but have you been to a laser tag arena?
Yes, I have, but not until I was like in college. I went to a place and there was like a half dead mall, but
Yes.
like attached to the very active roller rink
Mm-hmm.
was a laser tag place that me and my friends fucking loved. And I think I might have even told you about once, like me and my friend just happened to be like, okay, so you take the elevator from the ground floor just up one level to the laser tag place.
You did tell me about this.
My friend and I would just happen to be like on an elevator with like a 9-year-old kid who got separated from his group. So it was the three of us. And in the 10 seconds that the elevator trip took, that kid threw his arms above his head and said, I am the king of all money. And he
And
has
that kid was Elon Musk.
maybe, I don't know. Well,
I love that kid so much.
right? Like what did we just witness? What just happened?
Okay, so everything that you just said is completely true, Josh. However, when I say it's a product of its time, I'm talking about how creepy the dudes are to women and the
Oh my
creepy
god.
jokes that gets told. It sucks, but it's a product of its time, so I'm not going to lay into it.
Oh, also like just some casual racism thrown in.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that one took me by surprise. I wasn't expecting that.
We're gonna maybe just glaze over that, or are we gonna dig
Yeah.
into
Mhm.
that? Like
No, we can
I
just
don't know what the
like,
right thing to do is.
hey, if you're curious, go watch the episode 2 of season 1 and you'll see it as soon as it shows up.
Yeah. Okay, so let's dig in. Tell me, what'd you
Yeah,
think?
bro. So fun. My okay, right underneath fake drugs in shows
Mm-hmm.
is fake sports that are for really cool people.
That
And boy,
only
was
like those in the know about.
this was one of those in spades. Yeah, loved it. What'd you think?
I'm super duper into it. It also reminds me of. I don't advise anyone go watch this, but there's an episode of Baywatch Nights that has a gang of criminal rollerbladers.
Oh, they're so mad at the world.
And it's like there are like yeah, they all have helmets. They're all like just like rich suburban white kids, which I guess
Yeah.
is the most realistic thing, but then
Yeah.
also like there are explosions around them for no reason, which is most wonderful. But
You know
definitely
what?
not worth your time.
It really sounds like it is, though. You always say this about Baywatch Nights, and you're really selling it. I know you're not trying to.
I mean, look, it's just a super weird show that like it seems like everything about it was made by committee and nobody made a final decision even once something was like already on the air. Like, all right, this show is about a detective agency. Or
Great.
what if
Okay.
maybe it's a paranormal
Hmm.
show, but
Oh,
it's still a
sounds fun.
detective agency?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And also on top of that, like
Mm-hmm.
Mitch, that's David Hasselhoff's
Sure. Of
character.
course.
We've established him as a superstar already.
Uh-huh. Hmm. Hmm.
He's got tons of contacts from his years of lifeguarding that he can lean on.
Okay, so I have a question before we get started here. Do lifeguards make a lot of connections in their lifetime?
Mitch did.
All right.
Yeah.
Enough said. Let's do this. Green
Yeah.
light.
Yeah. But you have to understand that that's like, excuse me. You have to understand that's like 8 different conversations that took place over the course of, 2 seasons.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
They were just like, throw it out and make it a different thing. But keep it the same thing at the same time. And throw it out more and make it a newer, differenter thing, but keep all the stuff.
Can we keep that one guy in the credit sequence, even though he's only in one episode?
Lou Rawls. I mean, when you got star power like Lou Rawls, you're not going to just fucking not use it.
Yeah, what are you, an idiot?
Yeah, dum-dum. All right, so back to season 1, episode 2, Rakers, Max Headroom.
Uh-huh.
As always, it takes place 20 minutes into the future.
From
Which
right
is-
now or when it was shot? Is the question.
Don't ask questions, Tressa.
All right.
Don't ask questions like that. It's 20 minutes into the future, according to the title that was made back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It
There's
opens with static. It's like we're in the very first thing is static from a TV screen. We see like a dystopian homeless camp a la Terminator. There's like barrel fires and a lot of TV screens, which is just the way homeless camps are in the future. There's just TV everywhere.
so many extension cords.
There's a woman who's like in deep cover.
Yeah.
Like I actually still don't understand who she was or what the point was about her.
No, because she wasn't the first one to be like, they just passed me. There's no one following them. They're on your way. They're coming up to you. And then another person did the same thing, and that was the end of it.
Yeah, so there's like spies or something, deep cover agents of some kind in the homeless camp that might not be a homeless camp.
It is, but it. And there. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I don't. I mean, it's a little bit confusing. A young punk with a skateboard talks to Max Headroom, who appears on the TV screen in the camp. And Max, throughout this episode, is simultaneously social commentary, and he's an outsider in our world. So even though he has all of the knowledge and experience of Edison Carter, he is kind of
Stupid.
he's kind of stupid in some ways. He lives inside a TV and he doesn't understand that some things on TV are news and some things are entertainment. So he keeps seeing images of a character that we'll later learn is named Missile Mike.
Yes.
Just shooting a machine gun. And it's just like a muscle 80s guy in camo just shooting a machine gun forever. And it's the same shot every time. And it's just him just fucking unloading endless ammo.
We learned that it is a children's show, and I would watch the fuck out of that show.
It's a very popular children's show on Network 23.
Fantastic.
Anyway, that's not what we're dealing with right now, but Max is still confused about all this violence on the TV.
Mm-hmm.
We see inside the building that borders the dystopian camp. It's a coliseum of sorts. It's an old warehouse with peeling paint, and there's
You know what it is?
What is it?
It's Skateboard Thunderdome.
It's totally Skateboard Thunderdome. Yeah. We see skate punks, and there's just levels of audience watching and placing bets on this underground sport called raking. Raking.
Making what? Go ahead.
We see the head of sports for Network 23, some promoters for raking who are like some scummy boxing promoter types, but in the future.
Yeah, they're typical, stereotypical like mob dudes.
They're
That,
total mob dudes chomping on cigars
yeah,
and like
fixing
taking
races.
advantage of the athletes. The athletes in this case are punk skateboarder types in a blood sport on souped up skateboards
Josh,
with lawnmower engines.
guess
Here's
what?
the thing.
Yeah.
This could be a very commercial property. It could even be bigger than Scumball.
No, I don't even believe that. That's crazy. How could it even get that big? Scumball? No way.
Yeah, so we don't get to see a Scumball game played
But they
or
talk
meet
about
any
it
of the
a lot.
players that I remember from this episode, but there's a lot of talk about the popularity of the sport.
Yeah, yeah. One guy, I think he's coming up, he's an arson and he keeps burning down these federal buildings or bureaucratic buildings. And
The
police-
Bureau Burner.
Yeah.
That's
the
another
police-
thing that's just in the news.
Yeah.
He's burning down tax offices.
Yeah. He gets lost by the cops in a scumball crowd because it's so popular that he just got lost in the crowd.
I mean, it sounds like, the rest of the world loves soccer and calls it football. And so that's kind of what I'm picturing. Scumball is some sort of like dystopian future soccer. You think or no? What do you think Scumball is?
Do you know the original meaning of scumbag?
Isn't it a used condom?
So let's.
But that's,
Like-
I mean, scum is
Yeah,
many
exactly.
things. First of all,
It wasn't at first. I'm saying maybe it's pornography.
you think scumball, which is identified as a sport,
Yes, it's the future. 20 minutes.
20 minutes into the future,
It's gay porn.
gay
Scumball.
porn.
Yeah, ball. It's not like scum slit. God. Let's continue, shall we?
I don't know. This is not where I expected the conversation to go at all.
I'm totally joking. I don't think it's porn, but
Okay, so back at Edison Carter's amazing, futuristic, gigantic apartment,
yeah.
he and the helicopter pilot Martinez are drinking a beer and just watching Missile Mike. which we didn't know at this point is children's TV.
Yeah. It's
That's like a funny twist.
yeah. That we only get at the end.
So back at Control, Theora and Murray have nothing to do, even though there's like presumably scumball games and who knows what the Bureau Burner's up to now. But they have nothing to do, and Murray's like, it's quieter than a grave.
Missed that.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm going to go get some coffee. You want anything? And wanders off. And then you hear, like, so Theora's sitting at her terminal, and part of what's going on is, like, a report from Edison. And the bite that we hear is, in the fringes, people eat what they can catch.
This was an underlying theme as well.
Yeah, for sure. There's
Yeah.
like everything in the future is dark.
And disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what your opinion of potential scumball games is on like how disgusting and whether or not it's disgusting. That's up to you. Anyway, Theora gets a call.
That's right. It's Winnie, her sister-in-law, kind of, I guess.
Yeah,
And
Winnie
she's
is
like,
very upset.
we need help. Uh, she puts it on a private line, and when he's like,
which is like a thing that she has to have hacker skills to do, it seems. Because this
but it doesn't
world,
even work, does it?
well, I think that like the latter part of the conversation was then private, but sort of the beginning of it is like housed in the data bank,
Okay.
if I
So,
understand correctly.
sure, 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 sure. So Winnie's like, Sean, Theore's brother, is in trouble. We need help, and he doesn't want me to call you. And please, he's going to be in so much trouble.
And also, he's right there and makes her hang up. So, like, you're sort of doing a good job of, like, alerting a responsible type, not exactly authority figure, but, like,
But he's just
concerned
standing there the whole
individual.
time.
Yeah, he's inches away from the screen while she's calling. It almost seems like they're trying to set up Theora for, like, some kind of trap.
Seriously. Fiora's like, well, I got to take care of this. And she is a responsible employee, so she finds a replacement for her job, and she goes to find out what's going on.
Yeah, some mulleted dude named David sits at her terminal.
Fucking David, dude.
And so, like, tries to link to Carter. Anyway, we cut over, and we see Murray. He's talking, like, Max has appeared where Murray is. And Max is still, he's on about that guy with the machine gun. Like, is anyone doing anything about the machine gun guy?
Uh-huh.
And Max is like, oh my God, he just thinks everything's real.
You mean Murray? You said Murray.
Yeah, Murray thinks, yes, Murray marvels that because Max lives in a TV, he thinks all TV is real, or everything is TV, or I'm not really sure how it works.
Yeah. We hear a news report about. Wait, no, that's different.
There's breaking news. I think it might have been about the bureau burner.
I've got notes and I don't know what they mean. Go ahead, because we already talked about the bureau burner, and I thought that was over.
No, it's woven throughout. So, okay, so there's breaking news. I think it was the bureau burner, and Murray tries to contact Carter, but at Theora's station, there's no Theora. There's just this fucking mullet guy.
Fucking David. Theora goes to Sean, her brother's house, and she's like, Winnie, where's my brother? Where's my American brother? And she's like,
well, we later learned that they were orphans who were separated and adopted independently.
Right, because I guess most people would rather adopt an adorable girl. Gross!
That was the thing she said.
Mm-hmm.
So David had it hard. I mean, not David. Sean had it harder.
Yeah, because he got stuck in America like the rest of these chumps.
Right.
So when he's
presumably, Theora grew up like eating marmalade.
Yeah. She's one of those British people that has that accent that we don't really know what it is, but we know it means she's rich and fancy, but we don't know how. Because the British accents suck. So when he's like, oh, he's at the raking game, and Theora's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
And Winnie does not explain.
No.
And then we see Sean in his half shirt.
Oh, also half shirt, and every single one of those raking people, sweatpants or cut off sweatpants with a thong over it. So it's like you get the butt crease and the jock strap. Great. Love it.
And knee pads over the sweatpants.
Yeah.
And then
they look great.
They have these like helmet they're sort of like what you would like a boxer would wear for sparring, except they have like punk studs, like spiky studs all around them. So it's it's supposed to show that it's a gladiator blood sport type thing. They put on the spiked gauntlet type things, which is a big part of raking.
It's exactly what skateboarding and American Gladiator combined should look like, is what it is.
Yeah, last episode we talked about American Gladiator, and then this episode we're basically watching skateboard American Gladiator.
Absolutely.
And then, so these guys are like, they drop into what is basically a pool. Like,
Yeah, it's a pool.
it's a pool, right? Like, I
Hmm.
mean, it's sort of like they have a couple of different shaped ramps, but it's more or less a pool type situation
Yeah, yeah.
for them. And there's a little bit of flat in the middle so that like they can pass each other and swipe their gauntlets.
Okay.
Then at all right, I don't know.
Yeah, no. I want to talk about how spoiled we are with TV and movies today and fight scenes because fight scenes in the 80s blew. They were
Mm.
so bad. Like the one in the last episode, terrible. The one in this one, it's like, you're not, you're not, I'm not convinced.
It's true because of I think that it's the rise in popularity of like really great movies that came out of Hong Kong during the golden age of Hong Kong movies. Fight choreography has become a wonderful art in Hollywood, and it was rare for it to be a good thing until like just the past 20 years.
Yeah, yeah. So, so people get swiped and fall down and they are grievously injured in this game. They also have like knives, like Freddy Krueger gloves, but that's fine.
Right, and that's the spiked gauntlet. So it's
Yeah.
like
But it's also on their fingers. Like they have knives on their fingers.
right, and I think they might even have sort of like Wolverine type mini claws coming out from their knuckles,
Probably.
maybe, or maybe I was just
I mean,
sort of.
that's the foundation of raking that we know.
It's true.
Hmm.
So we learned just a snippet that Winnie tells Theora that Sean did it because they need the money, obviously, for their baby.
Right, because there's a baby.
Um,
Uh,
there's some hot raking action.
yeah.
The
So many
Sean's
leaves were cleaned
opponent
up.
rakes him,
Uh-huh.
and we see the network sports guy, the top some dude from the Zigzag Corporation,
Yeah.
and the promoter guys just fucking losing their mind, excited about the potential of this new blood sport.
So exciting. It's going to be bigger than Scumball. I guarantee it.
Yeah. Like, can you imagine something bigger than Scumball?
No, the idea is just ridiculous. I can't even know.
So, okay, wait. Back to your theory about Scumball being gay porn.
Uh-huh.
Is it are there teams? Is it a one-on-one thing? How does Scumball work?
You know what? It's open to interpretation. It's whatever you want it to be and more. It's like
This is a very evasive answer, Tressa.
because I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Okay, all right, all right, all right. That's fine. Okay, back to the control room. We overhear a little snippet of news about the tax office being torched. They think that the bureau burner is angry about the new TV tax.
And this news, I think it's this newscaster. Her whole report is full of fucking puns.
Totally. It's like the heat is on.
He's really holding out a torch for that guy.
Right. It was yeah. Somebody in the
He's
writers' room
all
was just like,
heated up.
I'm gonna have fun with this one. And nobody was like, oh, that's a bad idea. In fact, they were like, at last.
Finally.
Right. And
Someone's
I
telling
loved it.
straight.
It's decades later and I still love it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Um by the way, like in England, they do have to pay a TV tax.
Yeah. And this
But
is a British story anyway.
right, it started there. Like they made a 1 hour special that took off, and
It started as a manga.
it started as a candy bar.
Uh-huh.
Um,
And then it was a Pepsi commercial. And
Coke.
then,
It was Coke. It was new Coke.
sorry.
Yeah, he became like this. They were like, oh my god, this brand new fucking thing that's even cooler than the animation.
Scumball.
This could be bigger than Scumball. I mean, we're basically talking about animation that's like on the level with that Dire Straits video,
Oh God.
right?
Yeah. I mean,
We got to install microwave ovens, custom kitchen delivery. We got to move these refrigerators. We got to move these color TVs. This was a time when you had to specify that your television was a color TV
yeah.
versus black and white. Black and white's still available and on the
Hmm.
market.
Yeah. Especially as little tiny ones.
Right.
So I believe that Carter and Martinez were sent off to the wrong place to cover this arsonist story because Murray is
Fuck up that he is.
uh,
But he was trying to do Theora's work for her, and
mhm.
she doesn't. I mean, he doesn't know how the new.
He's a little rusty.
Yeah, he doesn't know how the technology currently works.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it just also goes to show you Theora is great at her job.
Hmm. Hmm. But Murray's pissed, and he's like, if she does show up again, she's fired. Fuck that bitch.
Yeah, or suspended. I don't know. I'm already backtracking in the middle of this conversation.
Yeah. Whatever you say, Carter. I love you.
Yeah. Also, he's like, we still need a feature for this week's show. Like that's my fault.
All right, dude.
Like, don't those decisions get made above? Like, who makes the decision for the feature? Apparently, like, Carter has to show up at like dawn and
Not
fucking
leave.
come up with something.
Yeah, choose from the four things on the list on the computer. Either the guy that can recite all of Shakespeare, or all right. So we're in Bryce's office
But
place.
wait, to be clear,
Yeah.
Carter is like, no, I want Theora back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. He loves her.
Oh,
Mm.
maybe I'll toss her a teddy bear if you know what I mean.
That's disgusting. So Carter goes to visit Bryce in his office place. Uh, and Max wants to know.
Oh, and by the way, as Carter leaves,
Uh-huh.
Max appears to Murray again on screen, and he's like, if he had guns like that other guy, no one could touch him. Social commentary.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, bruh. All right. So Max pops into the conversation with Bryce and Carter, and he's like, something needs to be done about this missile Mike. What's going on?
He doesn't
What's
know the
up?
name yet. He's just like, something needs to be done about that maniac with a gun.
Yeah, like what the fuck? He's killing everyone. Hundreds of people in 5 minutes. So many explosions.
They don't even pay attention to him.
No, they only shut up, you idiot.
So Carter needs Bryce to track Theora, and Bryce tells him to consult the data bank. So apparently there's like some sort of master data bank of everyone's movements at all time, and you can consult it. Unfortunately, there's a lot of paperwork and bureaucracy involved. And Carter's like, I'm not going to do all that paperwork. And they need like a lot of personal information.
Mm-hmm.
And then Max, he just instantly hacks the system.
Oh, right.
And gets the tape. And that's how we see the call from Winnie. And then he's like, all right, so Bryce, get me the personnel file. And Bryce is like, the personnel file is even higher, like, higher classified status. He's like, well, you didn't even get me that thing, so like do it. And I guess Bryce just is easily motivated that way or something.
You can't call him an idiot because then he'll get mad and do it. So Carter gets all this information that Theora has a brother whose occupation is a busboy, according to the computer.
And it also says deceased.
For her, I think that was just for her mom.
Oh, maybe I misread it.
Maybe.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And so he's like, cool, I'm going to go to this restaurant. Whatever. And he leaves. And Max is like, why does he even care about that lady anyway? And Bryce is like, I don't know, I guess he's fond of her.
And then Max asks, is fond the same as fondle?
Dude,
And Bryce thinks about it and says, how should I know?
I'm a stupid kid.
Right. I'm like maybe the smartest person on the planet when it comes to certain things, but I'm just a dumb kid in other respects.
He's book smart, not street smart. Wink.
So Theora goes to the restaurant where her brother had worked,
Mm-hmm.
learns that he was fired.
Because he was always off raking.
Yeah, the tuxedo wearing maitre d' is like, that kid was always off raking. He's like,
How
what's
does he
that?
know about it and nobody else does?
Right, and also he won't answer questions either. Like, he'll just drop it in a conversation, but then like, why won't you just explain it?
No, no, go away. What?
Are you
Uh,
worried that the raking mafia is going to come after you for shooting off your mouth? I guess maybe the raking mafia is a real thing because those
yeah,
boxing promoter dudes or whatever.
maybe that's how he knows about raking. Because they come to his fancy restaurant. And then Carter walks into the same restaurant, says something questionable, and they go and have a drink.
Right, and
And,
the decor of this restaurant, the decor of this
uh-huh.
restaurant slash lounge
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
is brightly lit, totally 80s barf me to the max.
Absolutely. And there are people standing on like tables or some sort of platform, just standing as if they are living statues because it's the future.
But also the 80s back when, like, and I guess this is still a thing, rich people who are assholes are like, how do I show my wealth in a way?
Yes.
I will have like a human being be a statue for the evening.
Yeah. Or a platter for sushi.
Right, a platter for sushi. A
Or,
naked woman will be a
yeah,
platter for sushi. We'll all enjoy that.
absolutely. I'm going to do jalapeno poppers next time.
Um, who thought it was a good idea to have a human asshole so close to raw fish?
Rich people. They can afford insurance, they've got medical care.
That's how you show your boundless, unending wealth is like no ailment can harm me.
Yes.
No weapon forged by the hands of man can prosper against me.
No. Salmonella, more like I'm rich. I don't know.
Uh-huh. Anyway, there
Yeah.
there are no naked human being platters at this restaurant, but there
No.
are just statues. And it's like you see in cities around the world, one form of busking is being like a human statue for like a
True.
minute at a time or whatever. People put money in your thing and
Hmm, hmm.
you know, whatever. It's a time-honored tradition.
Absolutely.
It goes back all the way back. I mean, it probably existed in Roman times. Like,
Oh,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
Totally. Are
pose
you
for
kidding?
me.
Yes. They had
But certainly, like,
living
before
gnomes.
they had film, tableau vivant was a big thing. And tableau vivant was like maybe it's a party game as much as like an entertainment. But people would stage famous paintings.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's fun.
sort of. Doesn't I mean honestly, it doesn't sound that fun
No, but it'd be
or
fun to
rewarding, but like
see if it was accurate and well done. It'd be fun to look at, I guess. Whatever. Josh, shut up.
well now they
Uh,
have a thing that's like so here's the thing, right? Like the original painting is like the biggest deal in the world because like back then when like a famous painter came out with a new work of art, that was like a new Lord of the Rings movie dropping.
oh yeah, for sure.
So then having like you and your friends, or I guess maybe if you were rich, your house servants and whatever, recreate that painting, that was like an immersive experience into the world of the painting. And now there's a thing that's been going on with like famous artists and historical stuff where they have like immersive experiences of like Van Gogh or like King Tut. And it seems like the weirdest abstraction to me, because what they do, if I understand correctly, I haven't actually been to one. Instead of seeing the real art which exists, it's like you go into a room with giant video screens where you see like super zoomed in
Oh,
close-ups of things, but that are like massive.
I know what you're talking about. They did that with Van Gogh, and I
Yeah.
think there was something about Prince that did that, and
Oh, maybe.
like,
But
yeah.
doesn't it seem weird? It's like, don't go to a museum. Go to
Well,
this like giant wall of video screens.
I mean, yeah, it seems like some rich people bullshit. Like, it costs like $50 for 10 minutes, maybe more. I don't know. But like, it's like a 10-minute experience, and you're paying out the ass for it, and it's just video feed. Shut the
Also, there are
fuck
like
up.
multiple competing versions.
Hmm.
Like, apparently, there are like a bunch of different Van Gogh ones that are sometimes touring in the
Oh,
same city at the same
shit.
time.
Oh, I want
So
to see
it's
that
like,
getting more.
well, it's just like, oh, we're going to make plans to go see a thing. Oh, you got tickets to that one. I got tickets to this one. I guess we won't see each other.
What a loser. I can't believe you're seeing that Van Gogh experience.
Oh, how very poor.
Yeah,
Okay, so back to the show. Back to the show. They
yeah,
sit
yeah.
down at a table, and we see some very futuristic for then, but actually totally real shit of today.
Hmm. And I think actually, now that you say that, because I wasn't really thinking about it at the time,
It was
he
blowing my mind.
it was he orders drinks for them, a scotch with ice and an Oreo blizzard.
He doesn't say an Oreo blizzard.
He should
Oh,
have. He said a blizzard. But the thing that I just thought of is at my DQ in Omaha, they had little TVs like that. And I don't think you could order, but like you could watch them, and it looked exactly like that little TV. But yeah. So she got an Oreo blizzard, and they had a nice time.
right. So, but okay. So when they sit down, he
Hmm.
waves like something that looks more or less like a pen
Hmm.
at the screen, and then the screen comes to life and asks for their order. He just says their order out loud.
Yeah.
And but this was in the 80s. This was
Yeah. Yeah.
decades before you could wave a physical object at another thing and it would identify who you were and like know to like take money from your account or
Yeah.
whatever.
And
And like being able to like speak to a
right.
computer and have it know you and whatever, and also just being able to order a scotch with ice and a blizzard.
I mean, that's the dream. But Theora also paid for Carter's body with one of those pens too.
Oh my god, I took
You
it for
weren't even,
granted.
were you even watching yesterday's episode?
I think I was spending I you know what, like this time I paused a lot more to take notes so that I wouldn't miss
Yeah,
as much.
I tried not to. I was in a hurry.
I know it's hard. There's a lot of
I
good
know.
stuff.
I know. So he's like, "So what's up? What's going on with your brother?" Blah blah.
Yeah, you didn't even tell me you had a brother.
She's just like, "Oh, Murray's mad at you," and she's like, "I don't care about Murray." Which man, bold. You don't care what your boss thinks, bruh. And he's like, "If you think I'm here because of your job, you're damn wrong."
Yeah, he's not just there for business. It's also
Because he
personal.
loves her.
And like literally cue the violins.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an exchange of glances.
Yeah.
Meaningful looks.
Yuck.
Elsewhere in this very same lounge, there is a meeting going on over cocktails with corporate dudes, government honchos, and they're discussing raking on Network 23 and that the Zigzag Corporation will be investing heavily and they need to get it through Congress to legalize it.
In this conversation, Carter and Theora's conversation, he's like, "Look, we need to talk about this. It's something everyone knows about and nobody talks about. You guys don't even know what it is yet. What are you talking about? Because they're talking about raking. Everybody knows about it. They just don't want to talk about it."
Well, But then we get a little bit more about Theora. We learn that like she and her brother Sean were separated as orphans and adopted separately, and she
Like
got
perverts.
the good home and he got the rougher home. Anyway, Theora's like, I don't need help taking care of my brother, and she leaves. And then Carter overhears the
Hmm.
government dudes. It's like, isn't he one of the most famous reporters in the world? Don't they know to like recognize him and not have their like totally corrupt conversation immediately in front of him?
Yeah, I mean, you probably shouldn't do that in public anyway, but all right.
Right. These
Uh,
are people that do not give a shit.
no, they're
They'll
powerful.
have a very important conversation at the urinals in front of a security camera.
It's
What a
fine though.
strange world this is.
Thank you. Uh,
So then back at the control room.
yeah. Max is yelling at Murray. He's like, "What is the deal with this show? This guy won't stop killing people." And Murray's like, "It is a fucking kids show. Relax."
It's one of
And
the most popular shows that we have on this network.
yeah, the kids like killing.
How do they know about it?
What? I don't. Okay. All right. And apparently he's been going out live, uh, and like just saying how awful this missile mic is, and I don't know. He's in the boardroom. People are watching him talk about how horrible missile mic is, and I couldn't tell if he was talking to the boardroom people or if it was like a replay of something he did earlier that got
I
broadcast.
think it's a replay. I think whenever like we see the boardroom looking at a thing of Max, unless they are directly interacting, talking back and forth,
Okay.
it's a replay where he like hacked the feed, just went live on the network and talks about how dangerous this programming is. So on the one hand, I don't know exactly where I land on this because Max Headroom is sort of for some kind of censorship, but these corporate guys are real exploitative assholes and like basically they're poisoning the well.
Uh-huh. Hmm.
And Max, if anything, is saying like there should be regulations that state it's not okay to poison a well.
What?
Something like that, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's a kids show, so I get it.
But it's also it's hilarious.
I mean, come on, so
And
good.
also like you totally like back then and now had such violent stuff. I mean, you know, if you watch a lot of movies and TV, all you see is like millions of dead bodies being killed.
Daily.
Yeah.
And all right, so the one guy, he's like, you know what? Max is right. We got to get rid of Missile Mike.
Right, and they
And
talk
they're
about
like,
how they think the ratings are going to go down now, either because of Max's stand or they were just going to happen anyway. It's
right,
not clear.
it's getting old. It's fine. But it's fine if we get rid of him because you know what? There's a brand new sport on the scene, and we'll just put that on there. It might, Josh, it might surpass the popularity of Scumball.
So then they watch some footage that was from a video cube bootleg that's been making the rounds. And they're all like astounding. And it's literally just like a kid doing like a 360 on a skateboard.
Like, no, like they couldn't even get professional skateboarders for this episode. It's just like some kids that like can do ollies. It's great.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Those whoever it was that they got to do skateboarding in this episode, they're better than me.
Oh,
They're
for sure. Way
they're
better than
just
you.
they're just not that great.
No, they're not
Uh,
pros.
right. And so anyway, they all these boardroom types are losing their mind and they're like, "Oh my god, there's so much betting that happens. We could own the betting too."
Oh shit. Let's get this and make it happen.
This is some real Columbusing happening, right? Like, they've discovered a thing that already exists. They've
Mm-hmm,
decided to take it for their own
mm-hmm.
and take everything associated with it for their own.
Sounds great. Let's do it. Let's colonize raking.
Uh-huh.
And then they get a phone call, and it's the head of sports and Zigzag guy.
Yeah,
Hey,
Mr.
guess what?
Friday is the head of sports. Hello, Mr. Friday.
Uh, guess what? It's legal now. We got it. It's done. Right? Was that the call was?
Right, and the Zigzag Corporation guy, I guess Zigzag is perhaps a Japanese-owned company?
Who knows?
Okay.
Back at the newsroom,
Theora returns to control.
and David's still at her seat. Fucking David. She's like, "Get out of here. I'm working."
Yeah, and
He's
I'm
like,
worried about my brother.
"Yeah." Because he's like, "Murray's looking for you," and he's ticked off. And she's like, "I have more important things to worry about than Murray's temper. My brother's in trouble."
And then Max appears on screen and asks if he can help.
Yeah. She's like, "My brother's in trouble." And he's like, what do men do in this situation? Aren't you
Right.
supposed to be Carter? Aren't you supposed to be a man? Like,
He
bro,
seems to have less knowledge than Carter.
yeah, he definitely
But he
does.
has different insights.
Right, computer insights.
Or just like new insights. Maybe perhaps the
Hmm.
futuristic mapping of his brain synapses were not as complete as we were led to believe.
Mm, yeah, that's probably it. So whatever, they do that. Go, we're at, I think what it said was Uzo Bar.
Okay, so this is probably my favorite scene of
So
the
good.
entire episode.
So good.
We're entering what's kind of like a loft party bar type thing.
Yeah.
First, we're going down a staircase.
Who is in that staircase?
A juggler, Tressa. He's not performing to anyone.
he
He's
just
just
uh, he
he's
just
just
has a
standing in the
passion.
corner doing his juggling arts.
He's got a passion for juggling.
He's doing the thing where you take some of the bean bags and you put one at a time on your head while you keep juggling.
Showstopper. So good.
I think he's meant to show a kind of
This place is
like
crazy.
edgy intensity,
Because
but
that's what,
he's also like clearly just a children's performer.
uh-huh. Because, edgy and intense is how I always think of jugglers. You know what
So
this party was missing?
what?
The contortionist that spider walks all over the room.
Oh, that goes backwards and you're like, "What the fuck? How did that happen?"
Wow, this party's crazy.
So you see people getting drinks from what looks like a makeshift bar. Everything about this seems like makeshift, like a loft party that like art students living in a warehouse would throw,
Yeah,
except it's also got like a neon sign out front.
that says Uzo Bar. Yeah.
So, yeah, no, like people are getting like beer bottles, not ouzo from what I could see,
Yeah.
but I'm not in charge of things. Anyway,
No.
Carter approaches a couple sitting at a table
Mm-hmm.
and a woman who looks to me like a 50% combination of Mary Warrenoff and Tawny Katane.
Wow.
What do you think? Would you say that's accurate?
Wait, who's Mary Warrenoff?
Mary Warrenoff, you might recognize her from, she's the principal in Rock and Roll High School. She's in Eating Raoul.
Yeah.
She's
Uh-huh. Yeah.
in that Suicidal Tendencies video. Um, and
Yes, I agree.
most I mean she was like a part of like the Warhol scene. She was in the performance art group Exploding Plastic Inevitable that like did performance art with the Doors, or like before the Doors existed. No, they did. I'm so sorry. They did not perform with the Doors. They inspired the Doors. They performed with Velvet Underground. So like another guy from the Exploding Plastic Inevitable, I think his name is Gerard Malanga, had the Jim Morrison look of like the big head of hair, no shirt with beads on and leather pants
Wait
before
a
before
minute.
Jim Morrison.
Wait a minute. Are you
Yeah.
telling me you right now are telling me that Jim Morrison ripped somebody off? Right now you're telling me this?
You could just say that he was inspired, that he was a
Okay.
product of the times.
All right.
Or you could say that he was tuned into like the coolest stuff on the scene.
So,
Okay, so Mary Warrenoff slash Tawny Katane, who is wearing fingerless gloves,
I mean,
a sign of coolness in the 80s if
get
ever there were one.
get the fuck out. Of course it was.
Yeah.
She looked like she could have been in Total Recall Mars World. She was cool as
Yeah.
fuck.
And immediately she has a butterfly knife in hand.
Hmm.
So she's sitting with a guy who I think we can only describe as looking like proto Morpheus.
Oh, 100%. Yes.
So we've got a black guy in a leather coat, bald head with little circular sunglasses, and it's decades before the Matrix.
Hmm. We
He's
see.
he's asleep. We will later learn that his name is Rick.
Okay. Okay, but is it? I didn't know if that guy just called him that because of what he was driving or if that was actually his name.
Okay, so it's very confusing exactly who Rick is because he seems to be an important person with contacts in just generally the underworld,
Yeah.
but he's also a motorcycle rickshaw driver,
Uh-huh.
and Carter just rides in the back of the rickshaw while he drives.
Uh-huh.
So, anyway, uh, here at the Uzo bar, he wakes Rick up from a nap, which he's. Why is he napping in the middle of this bar? Like,
He's that cool. He doesn't need quiet.
I guess so. Like, he's a hardworking man. Like,
Uh-huh.
get some sleep whenever you possibly can. So, Grace is his bodyguard for today, but she has her moments, is what Rick says.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
then Rick explains what raking is, finally.
Yeah.
Carter gets an explanation. We're like 3 hours into this episode, and finally our main character learns it's just skateboards with a lawnmower engine.
Yeah. Um, I love Rick very much. He's great. And he's Carter is like, "All right, Rick, let's go take care of this. You're gonna show me who's who and what's what." And they're about to get up, and Rick is like, "Hey, Grace, don't do anybody I wouldn't do." Gone. And then she said,
But then Carter says, "You're amazing, Grace."
"Ugh! So many
Right?
puns, so many puns."
It's
That's what they
like
should have called this show.
so many
So many
puns.
puns.
Yeah. So Rick explains that there will be a lot of security and that they will need a guide, preferably some kid that knows the score. That's
Uh-huh.
which is exactly what they find.
Yeah, because now they're in the homeless camp with the rickshaw,
Yeah, and by
and
the
they're
way, they're going
chasing this
like
kid.
5 miles an hour with the motorcycle dragging a rickshaw
You could
and
have walked.
not taking corners very well.
Nope.
We
Uh,
hear just a snippet of news as they're riding around about the privatization of a global satellite network. And then,
boom.
oh, I'm sorry. No, we don't hear that as they're driving around. We hear that in the control room, that where Theora is like she gets into Carter's live feed, but before the live feed, that was what was coming in across the wire.
Right. All right. So they're chasing this kid with a rake board.
Right. It's like, so just to understand the homeless camp or
Mm-hmm.
whatever this place is,
Mm-hmm.
we don't actually see homeless people
No.
We
Mm-mm.
what we see is like there's junk
Mm-hmm.
as well as like sort of these weird TV towers that
Yeah.
sometimes have stuff on them,
Mm-hmm.
and some
Barrels that formerly had fires in them.
barrels that have or recently had fires, and just smoke in general. There's smoke. It's a smoky place.
It's all implied.
Yeah.
So they lose this kid, and Theora's on it because there's satellites and cameras everywhere. She knows where they are and where that kid is. So she
Right. She
tells
can
them where to
hack into the
go.
mainframe and the data bank.
Yeah. And they jump out at this kid and they sneak attack him. And they're like, he's like, how did you guys get me? We got friends. So so Murray walks in when Theora's doing all this, and she's like, yo, Carter, give Murray your pitch for this story because whatever.
They've got a great feature for the show finally.
Finally,
Yeah.
Jesus. And he's like, sounds great. Go with
Yeah,
it.
he's like, so it's raking, this amazing sport that like
Could it be
exploit.
bigger than Scumball,
It's
though?
it's a real blood sport and it exploits kids. And
Awesome.
Mari's like, okay, run with it. So now we understand Theora's back and back in Murray's good graces and everything else.
That's yeah, that's
So yeah, so Theora's like, is my brother inside there? Yeah, we think so. Help my brother. That's the mission statement for this whole episode.
yeah. I mean, I guess maybe the raker that they sneak attacked. Wow, what did I just say? I
Yeah.
guess he knew that the her brother was in there, but
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I'm confused at how much she can see and know in with her satellites and
Also, like, just to be clear, when they capture the rakeboard kid who's
uh-huh,
trying to get away from them because he
uh-huh,
sees them,
yeah.
once they capture him, he's just on their side and on their team, and like, he's there to
Yeah.
help them in every
Uh-huh.
way.
I just wanted to play hard to get, man.
Right, basically, like, oh, hey, it's great to be. Now we can all hang out.
Cool, fun. So Rick is like, I'm gonna go check this guy. I'm gonna get us into this this raking game.
Right, so Carter hides with his camera,
Uh-huh.
and Rick drives up to a security guard that he recognizes.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, hey, what's up, my dude? Like, do you think you can get me into this game? He's like, oh, for you, no problem. Just go inside, tell them that you know me. And then Rick beats the shit out of him so that
and
Carter
throw,
doesn't have to hide.
and throws him in the trunk of the car and closes it.
Like,
I hope you die in there,
what the
bro.
fuck? Like, this guy was totally just happy to help.
Rick's like, I don't go for that. You're not gonna help me today.
I guess not.
And we're cutting in between this other thing where the mob boss with the bets has this medic for the raking kids, and Sean's in their little medic place, and they're like, hey, how you doing, kid? How you feeling? And he's like, I feel great. And
Yeah,
he's
he's
all
like a bloody
sweaty.
mess. Yeah, super sweaty. Like he's holding his stomach because like his intestines would pop out if he didn't. And the private conversation between the two promoter mafia dudes is like, can we make this kid, can we fix him up? Well, we can make him look good, but we can't make him be good.
Maybe we'll do a side bet.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, kid, you're gonna do great. You're one of Raking's finest. And they walk away, and he's like,
So Carter and Rick sneak in, and even though they had thought and been told that like the whole place was deserted, it's not deserted at all. It's totally got everyone in it, and they immediately spot and put on camera
uh-huh.
the bigwig characters who have like the warehouse equivalent of box seats.
They do. They've got like an urn next to them, next to their seats.
Right, so
He's
it's
got like opera glasses.
right, and okay, so they're not just like, you know, punk trash people in the audience now. There are also high society opera types
Mm-hmm.
that have fur muffs, or maybe there's like a little lap dog. I don't even know. Like
I did not catch that, but yeah,
you're talking about like some very the
the
creme de la
hoitiest,
creme of high society.
the hoitiest of the toitiest.
Faux show.
Yeah. There's gambling going on, fancy dudes, Peller's there.
And then we see Sean is a mess, but he drops into the pool and competes.
We
Oh,
we got to talk about his coach, who is
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
a Jeffrey Tambor lookalike contest winner, and he's got like a white tank top on, and he's got his own gauntlet. He's like, "Kid, you doing okay is not good enough. You gotta fucking win this shit," and he is out of control. So we see him there. We saw him before. He's gonna come back in a second, but
Yeah, it's very unusual to me to see two bald mustachioed men in one show like
yeah,
this.
you
Like,
can't have more than one. We're
I
gonna
mean,
get confused.
yeah, I mean, he was like a sort of a fat but also muscular type guy, unlike Jeffrey Tambor.
I don't know. I haven't seen him with his shirt off. I don't know.
He seemed bulky.
Okay.
Maybe it was just maybe that's how good Jeffrey Tambor is. He's a
That's what I'm
fucking
saying.
chameleon.
That's what I'm saying. So Max visits the mob guy that's doing the bets. I don't even remember what he did there, but he's
Oh, but
like,
wait, but
hey.
wait, before
Yeah.
Max appears,
Uh-huh.
the two promoter guys are like, "Oh, we got the money from Zigzag."
Yeah.
It's like, well, I guess we can just take off. And one of them is still sitting there as the second guy takes the like carved crystal decanter of brandy with him and walks away. So the
I didn't
first
even
guy's
notice
like,
that.
yeah, the first guy's like, ah, damn it. Like I better go chase after that. And that's when Max appears and asks the promoter, like, I'm looking for a sport with some action and blood. Any idea where I could find that?
When TV's talking to me. Whoa, 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 what?
Right. And also fucking with me.
Yeah.
Also, like, why am I even listening to a screen?
Hey,
Who cares?
yeah, right? I can walk out of the door and I
Yeah.
won't see it anymore.
This was 1980s slash 20 minutes into the future version of all social media.
Eh,
This isn't real.
nope,
Nope.
not at all.
Yeah.
So now we're getting some raking action. We get to see a real game take place. And like Sean, the entire time is holding his side while he's skating. I'm sorry, raking. And
Raking.
it's just, they just pass each other and like swipe at each other's stomachs. That's the extent of it.
Occasionally.
Occasionally.
And it
Usually they're
seems
just
like there's a
passed.
capture the flag element because at the beginning of a match, that fake Jeffrey
Oh,
Tambor dude
yeah, yeah, yeah.
drops some sort of cylinder into
I
the
don't,
bottom of the pool,
yeah, I
and
don't
then
know
the
what the
winner
fuck that
raises
was.
it upon completion of the game. But it doesn't seem like they're
Upon
trying to get it at any
completion.
point before that. Well, it's a little bit like Scumball.
That's what I wanted. Thank you, Josh.
You
Uh,
have a filthy mind.
it's my birthday. Shut up.
It's my birthday. I get to be filthy.
Yeah, that cylinder is dropped, and then I don't remember ever seeing it again. And it seemed like a weird thing to throw into a skateboarding arena.
It gets picked up at the very end. But here's the thing, it's like sometimes a guy would just be on the ground while the other one's taunting him, being like, get up.
Yeah,
And if the point is to get that thing, they're not bothering.
no. Was the point to get that thing or to murder the other guy? I'm confused.
Long story short, it's not clear what the rules or the point of raking is.
But
And we need answers.
yeah, thank
We need
you.
answers on that and Scumball.
More about Scumball though. So Carter's got his camera on, and
Yeah, he goes live because that's the only way that they're going to be able to get the story.
mhm,
And
Fiora's like, "That's my brother."
Yeah, but then the camera's down immediately.
Because you know why? Because the coach came and swiped it out of his hands with this
Fuck
crazy
yeah.
Freddy Krueger glove.
Yeah.
He doesn't want cameras there for some reason.
But guess what?
What?
Carter didn't come here alone. He still got Rick, and Rick's got his
Hell yeah.
back.
Hell
So
yeah.
this is like, okay, so I don't know if you're familiar with the author Robert Parker.
Nope.
So he wrote a number of different series. He wrote a series about a detective named Spencer who
Is he for
has,
hire?
yeah, so that show was based on those books. So
Dope.
his best buddy and contact in the underworld was a guy named Hawk, who was a black dude who was bald and tough.
Did he also
And
have a show?
he did. He had a spin-off, A Man Called Hawk.
I think that's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's Avery Brooks, who would later be
Yeah.
in one of those.
Cisco,
He's in one of the
DS9.
Star Trek ones.
Yeah, he's awesome. I love him.
Yeah, well, to me, he'll always be the character of Hawk because he's perfection. Like that show was not that great most of the time. He was always great.
Hmm.
Several of the early books are fucking awesome. Anyway, all of this is to say
Uh-huh.
that show was popular on TV just before Max Headroom came out.
Uh-huh.
And I think they were like, we just need a
All
relationship that's the same thing as that. So like,
does that mean that he's going to be around for more episodes?
I don't know. I don't remember him, but it's
I hope
like,
so.
it's so cool to see this guy who's like he's simultaneously Hawk from Spencer
Mhm.
and a pre-Morpheus.
Yeah, for sure. And he has some of the best lines that aren't that great, but I loved. Like in the middle of this whole thing that's going on in the raking arena, he's like, I think we're gonna die. And then like something happens and he's like, watch this, which not funny lines, but to me somehow are hilarious.
So like, so he's in it. He's got his buddy's back, and we cut to the control room with Theora and Murray and fucking Ben Chevio, who I think is now the head of
The
Network
head.
23. Did he take over for Grossberg?
That's what
Is,
it looked like
is
because he was sitting
Grossberg
at the
fully
head.
out?
I mean,
He's
it looks like it.
all right. So Ben Chevio, who was the man with a conscience, who was like, maybe we shouldn't do all of the worst shit. We could still be.
How about check this out, you guys? Instead of throwing my money away on a yacht, I'm going to give my money to a what are they called? A nonprofit that my one really good friend works for, and they'll get a really good bonus if I do this. How about I do that because I'm a good person? All
I'm
right.
not really. I'm not following you right now, but yeah, the point is, he's
He's a good rich guy, quote unquote, is what I'm
totally
saying.
well. But then we see him. He uses his like top level classified security login to help them hack back in to see what's going on back at fucking Rakeboard Central.
Yeah. Yeah. Because he's a good rich guy. And so what we were supposed to see when Rick was like, "Hey, watch this." Like 5 minutes later, he comes back and he's carrying a TV and he's gonna like aim it towards the raking arena so everyone can see Max Headroom.
But if you can see Max Headroom can see you.
Oh, that's right.
So this is 20 minutes into the future where the technology
Mhm.
exists. Like this is decades before you had true, like maybe video teleconferencing actually existed, but only for like billionaires who literally had access to private satellites.
Yeah.
Like that's it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so
Those are the days.
those were the days. So Max is able to go live instead of Carter, and he does the report, and he also simultaneously takes down Missile Mike.
He's got a singular mission.
Yeah, he's very moved by this man who just endlessly shoots a machine gun forever.
I respect that. So everything's solved and everyone's happy. Oh, wait.
Basically. And then we cut to what seems to be just the very next day, possibly.
Yeah, possibly. And I hated everything about this scene.
This is so fucking weird.
Sean and Carter are sitting on the couch watching the news story, and Theora and Winnie are sitting on his bed, but it's a loft, so it's just like a few feet away.
Or
And
well, no, it's actually like a giant space, like with huge like high
right,
ceilings and like
right,
a
but the
massive like
bed,
arched window and stuff.
right, but the bed is basically on a stage like 10
Right,
feet away from them.
right.
And
So they're
he's
cooing
like,
over the baby, as
yeah, and
women are
Sean's
wont to do.
right. That's all we're good for. And Sean is like, man, I don't know if I'll ever get used to being on TV. What's it like? Do you get used to it? And Carter's like, I don't know. Do you ever get used to the sound of babies crying? Like, dude. And then,
And
and
then
then Winnie goes, hey, Theora, because she's sitting next to Carter now.
right, they switch places. Sean goes to like hold his baby, and Theora comes from where she had been holding the baby.
She says,
Winnie says,
Theora, you should settle down and have babies. Baby cries.
and
Shouldn't she, Edison?
and shouldn't she, Sean? Asking both of them.
Yeah, men.
And we see Carter. He says, "This could make something perfect." And then he
He's,
takes a drink of beer.
he says practice could make something perfect.
Is that what he says?
Hmm.
Oh,
That's why it was gross.
so that's the end. And then at the very end, we have like
More one-liners from
we
Max
have we have
Headroom.
more one-liners from Max, including just like casually racist jokes
Oh,
slipped in.
and casually rapey jokes. And
Wait, was there a rapey joke too? Oh yeah,
yeah,
right.
that's
You're
the
right.
last
It
thing he
was
said.
racist and rapey
Yes,
simultaneously.
it was a twofer. Yeah,
I
so
was
if you want to hear that, go ahead and watch that
Yeah,
episode
I
at the
didn't
very end.
transcribe it, so somebody else
I
if you
did, but
really
I
want
don't.
that one, it's all
It's
you.
yucky. It is icky.
So, long story short, I loved this show back when it aired, and I think that it probably put some bad stuff inside my head, along with whatever else it did.
Yeah, we've all been deconstructing ever since.
What else about this episode? Because I feel like, I mean, here's the thing: like, they present us with a complete world. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
everything about this world, like they have figured out what a bar is like. How is a bar different 20 minutes in the future?
Oh, yeah.
And that technology is fucking real. Like we now like scan a QR code or whatever it is to get a
Mm-hmm.
menu, and then you beep boop bop on your phone,
Yeah.
and your Scotch with ice and Blizzard show up.
Oreo Blizzard. Yes. It's fantastic. Ah,
So
this was such
here's
a
the thing.
fun
Here's the thing.
show.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I
Mhm,
wish.
mhm, mhm.
Uh, have Are you a fan of Waiting for Guffman?
I haven't seen it since it was out, but I enjoyed it then. I don't know.
Parker Posey's character before she's in the play worked at Dairy Queen,
Yeah.
and at one point her character is being interviewed about like what she wants to do like in the future and like with her life. She's like, I want to create like a really like healthy, good Blizzard. like, like their character's worldview is basically just Dairy Queen centric.
It's
I mean,
pretty great.
it's more than that, but
Yeah.
the way that fucking lands, Parker Posey's a genius.
I love her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I never think of anything but her when people are talking about a Blizzard from Dairy Queen.
Oh, that's sweet. Josh.
Tressa.
Uh, I don't know. I was hoping something would come to me while I said your name.
So, guys,
Mm.
this is like basically a really amazing show with a couple of problematic aspects to it that are interwoven and inextricably linked. So, if you can handle that, keep taking the ride with us because we're going to keep taking the ride.
It is so fun. I'm loving it. Episode 2, and it is dope. Uh, yeah, it is a product of its time. Don't
Yeah.
forget that while you're watching it. You can't because it's very obvious, but it's fine. I mean, we're not
But
going to get
but
weird.
also bear in mind that like at the time no one thought that that shit was problematic.
Not at all. That's what I mean. Like,
Like
this is normal
like
and fine.
yeah, like there wasn't even like a conversation going on like is that okay what he just
No,
said.
no. The conversation was like, that is hilarious.
Oh
Good
my god,
job.
keep them coming.
Let's
What a
do
great
this.
yes.
We need more racial, maybe something about how women are stupid. Can we do something like that? Because in spades is what we got.
Wait, has that been in here? Women
Just
being stupid?
no, but I feel like it's coming, but also the whole like,
Women are
hey,
baby machines?
yes,
What like
come on.
the whole I mean Jesus Christ, this lady didn't become a super hacker to just waste her life at a control terminal. She's got to start pushing out kids with somebody.
Yeah. And Winnie's whole internalized misogyny is like, hey, men, don't you think you should be convincing this woman to make babies right now? What's going
Right.
on, men?
I don't want to be the only one that got tricked into it.
I can't do this by
Also I'm
myself.
lonely. Like I don't see any of my friends.
Please
Having
do
a baby was a
something.
goodbye party for my life.
God. Oh, Winnie.
I want to see Winnie's spin-off.
It's called The Honeymooners.
So wait, what does Sean do? Does
He's a
he
busboy.
does he go back to being a busboy somewhere?
I mean, maybe they make really good credits as busboys.
It's interesting because they needed money and Theora immediately was like, I can help you. Like,
I work at Channel 23. I'm
right.
rich.
And also like I don't have any problem like financially helping you. Like that's
Right. She,
not
well,
even in question.
like what year is this? 87, 85, 20 minutes into the future?
20 minutes into the future.
You could support a full family on one person's paycheck.
Right, easily working 35 to 40 hours per week.
Right. Hacking the system and whatnot.
Yeah, bringing down the mainframe. It was the
Yeah.
Jetsons.
Enhancing. Yeah. You can't really do that now, but then it was like not even an issue. Yeah. Of course. I've got a giant loft with the longest bed. Of course.
I can order drinks from a screen that know who I am,
From
like
my
just by
pen.
waving a pen at it.
And the Oreo blizzards are nonstop. It's the
You can get them
future.
anywhere.
Not just DQ, you guys.
Like I went to a place you wouldn't even believe there were human statues,
No,
and
that's
they
crazy.
serve blizzards.
Two of my favorite things.
So was okay. So here's the thing, right? Like a scotch with ice is just a
Mhm.
scotch with ice, but I assume that this is them making up a cocktail name. Like maybe there's something called a blizzard. Possibly it's a well-known drink.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I've never heard of it, but it was like that's your future drink, the Blizzard. It uh
I mean, but drinks like names of drinks.
uh-huh.
Like a drink goes into fashion and then falls out of fashion.
Sure.
Like at some point in the 70s, a salty dog was the thing.
At some point in the 90s and the aughts, a Cosmopolitan is in your hand.
Right. At some point in last summer, an Aperol Spritz.
Exactly. And I'm assuming they're like, well, what's some good names? We got Hurricanes as a cocktail.
No, that already exists. That already
Okay.
exists.
Well, what if we do, oh, wait. 'Cause, like, Hurricanes as a cocktail. Okay. Well, what if we do, 'cause, like, Hurricanes as a cocktail. Okay. Well, what if we do, 'cause, like, Hurricanes as a cocktail. Okay. Well, what if we do, 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 volcano eruption.
Oh, that's pretty good. Is it too sexual?
Yes, it's absolutely too sexual, and that's why it's good. But also, earthquake. What about the earthquake?
Oh, yeah. I feel the earth move under my feet. Yeah, I love it.
Um, I just got news we can't use earthquake. That's what they
Oh,
renamed the Long Island iced tea. We can't do that.
okay, okay, okay. Well, then,
Light spritz, no.
a
Mm,
wine cooler? Oh, no, that's the thing
no.
of right now. Yeah, the Mike's Hard Lemonade of its day was called a wine cooler, and it was just a wine shandy in a bottle.
um, yeah, but not Mike's Harder lemonade. That's something completely different, right?
Is that something they serve at Scumball?
Yes.
Isn't it crazy? Isn't it? What a crazy world.
I mean, come on, get out of here.
Yeah, so you can get um, zero alcohol beer, but hard cider or hard seltzer.
Yeah. I mean, the future's now.
Who cares? Everything's
Who
stupid.
who gives a shit, Josh? Let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, we gotta get the fuck out of here because that's all the fucking time we have.
It was so great seeing you guys. It's only been like 2 hours.